Well, it's finally time for Sean Payton's homecoming. He'll be marching in on Thursday Night Football with those Denver Broncos trying to take care of business against his former New Orleans Saints. And it's not just any Thursday Night Football. Yes, it is prime time, but it's also the same night that Drew Brees will be inducted into the Saints Hall of Fame at halftime. The only problem is that Saints injury list is longer than Dan Campbell's playbook. So an injury list that started with the offensive line continues to be with the offensive line, but now the Saints are looking without their quarterback one. So Derek Carr is once again out this week with his oblique injury he suffered against the Chiefs. Chris Olave, concussion protocol. And we also have Rashid Shaheed, who will be having surgery in Los Angeles. And if it's a full repair on his meniscus, you're looking at him moving to the IR for the remainder of the season. A lot of injuries. You also have Tyrann Mathieu, who's banged up, Taysom Hill, who's doubtful. I could go on and on. There's a full injury list. I'll probably attach the link to it in my description of this video. But needless to say, there's a lot of problems. The Denver Broncos, though, are also having some injuries. They're down to their second-string center, I believe, and overall their right tackle, they're down to their third-string right tackle. Pat Surtain's out. They also have their WR2, I believe, is out. So now, look, nowhere near what the Saints are dealing with injury-wise, but the Saints are going to have to make a play. Regardless of what the injury list is, their record is 2-4. And this is a must-win game. Not only is Drew Brees getting inducted at halftime, but I say again, this is Sean Payton's homecoming. He'll be marching in with the Denver Broncos, and I understand that there's no love. Like, there's no, what's the word I'm looking for? Because it wouldn't be there's no love lost, right? I would say there's no hard feelings between the Saints and Sean Payton. Look, I got no hard feelings with Sean Payton. I understand he wanted a new project. I mean, man, was here for 16 years, led us to a top 5 defense over that time frame, won us a Super Bowl. I could go on and on, but regardless, the Saints need to win this game on Thursday night, not just to make a statement, but to prove a point, but also to stay alive. This is an NFC South division that's turned competitive very quickly. They just gave up 51 points to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and not too long before that, they lost to the Chiefs. Before that, they lost to the Atlanta Falcons. They can't afford any more losses. And given the injury situation, if the Saints do fall to 2-5, it's going to be very difficult for Saints fans to stay optimistic for the remainder of the season. But they have a shot. Family, they have a shot. There's going to be some holes in that Sean Payton secondary. Yes, they're going to blitz a lot. Yes, they're going to send everything they can at the wall. But let me tell you the secret for this Saints offense. Vance Joseph is the defensive coordinator in Denver. Vance Joseph loves to blitz. In fact, the Denver Broncos are blitzing 45.8% of the time. They're going up against fifth-round rookie Spencer Rattler. Spencer Rattler, who looked very comfortable in the boot last week, right? A lot of play action, things outside the pocket, on the move, beautiful passes up the middle, Foster Moreau open that one time, it was beautiful. But what do you think Vance Joseph is going to do this week? The same thing Todd Bowles adjusted to last week. They're going to blitz the shit out of Spencer Rattler. They're going to play against the run. And what they're going to do is dare the New Orleans Saints to throw that ball. Sean Payton is there's one thing about there's a few things about Sean Payton. There's a lot of good things to say about the man, as he has a lot of good traits and qualities. But you don't think Dennis Allen knows Sean Payton's offensive weaknesses? You don't think we all don't know his shortcomings when it comes to Sean Payton's arrogance and cockiness? You don't think he's walking in? I understand they laid an egg last week, but look at the injury list. Like, he's coming in, he thinks he knows his Saints team better than anybody. Drew's getting inducted. Sean wants to have some fun, ruin this party a little bit, and he wants to embarrass Spencer Rattler. He's going to come in aggressive. He's going to let Vance Joseph play aggressive football. They're going to blitz Spencer Rattler. So what is the secret? I think the secret, and I know it's a little bit contradictory to what I said last week, because last week he threw 40 times. And if you, just like I said in my breakdown, I say it again, if you would have told me that before the game, I would have said, yeah, they probably lost. This is rookie debut. But this week, given the game plan, given the injury situation, Olave's out, Rashid Shaheed's out, Taysom Hill is doubtful. You still have Alvin Kamara, but you got a fast receiver in Mason Tipton. Do not doubt Jawan Johnson. And we all saw how comfortable Spencer Rattler was throwing the ball to other fifth-round rookie from Pitt, Bub Means. I think you let this man loose if you could get open. Pat Surtain is out for this Denver Broncos. All right, they are not great defensively, and they're not great offensively. The last, I think, 3 Thursday night games, they're averaging like 10 points. I don't even know how many points they put up last week. It wasn't many. At one point, they were getting shut out. This isn't an impressive offense. I think they're like 28th in points per game. If not, they're close. This isn't an impressive offense. If the defense can just show up, Baker Mayfield, that's a good offense. That was a good Bucs offense. They came in and ran the ball down our throat because they were able to get Baker Mayfield lit up. Even after 3 picks, they were able to score 600-plus yards. I know it's a short week, but I'm telling you, I still believe in that Saints defense enough to know they're not that bad. They're going to come in. They're going to pull themselves up by their bootstraps. And I'm letting you know right now, they're not going to let Sean Payton and a rookie quarterback come through and tear them up. They're going to have Spencer's back way more, I think, this week. But I am telling you, they need to why not? What are you going to do? Come here. They didn't use Jamal Williams last week. The secret to the run game is going to be pass the ball and then let Kendre Miller cook. That's going to be the secret to this game. You play action them early. Play action them early. Don't even establish a run game. Play action them off the rip. Play aggressive, pass-heavy offense that whole first quarter. Why not? Throw it at the wall. Why not? Do we really trust this Denver Broncos secondary that much? Let these rookies cook, man. Mason Tipton is quick. Bum means you don't think he has a chip on his shoulder? Let these dudes prove themselves. These are the type of games where people step up in that locker room, where somebody buried in that depth chart, hungry, starving for an opportunity, is going to show up under the lights and make a name for themselves on prime time. And I think that could be Bub Means. He had a few catches last week, but I think he could go off this week. I think Mason Tipton could find himself in a Rashid Shaheed type role and find himself on a deep shot in the end zone this week. I think the Saints could put up 35 points this week with the injuries. There's already a lack of film on Spencer Rattler. I understand the injuries at offensive line, but if Spencer Rattler can make better decisions this week, I'm gonna give him a pass. You know, it's his first game, right? He's got to make better decisions this week. He has to step up. He has to be more aggressive, and he has to look like that second quarter Spencer Rattler that we all fell in love with. He has to make better decisions, and he has to have better ball protection. We can't throw 2 interceptions to Denver because they're going to eat us up. Clean defense and let this offense unleash. Let this offense unleash, man. They throw a pick, dial it down, but I think you got to let them lose early. I mean, look at last week, though, how Denver played against the Chargers. They're on a short week, too. You don't think they're banged up, too? Not only did Herbert throw for 243, I don't think Rattler needs to do that this week. They don't got to stay aggressive the whole game, but they got to start out aggressive. But on top of that, another interesting stat to remember is Justin Herbert ran the ball 6 times last week against the Broncos for 60-plus yards. I think it was like 60. I got it somewhere on my phone. Is 61 yards. Rattler had 27 on the ground last week. Let Rattler open it up early, maybe a deep shot to Mason Tipton, maybe some outside routes, maybe in the middle with Jawan Johnson, right, with Bub. I'm telling you, guys, this Denver defense isn't very good. They're going to play the run early. As long as Spencer Rattler can see his guys open down the field, they can take a few aggressive shots. And then from there, we can see Spencer Rattler do what he needs to do on the ground whenever the offensive line collapses, because this Denver Broncos is obviously allowing rushing yards to mobile quarterbacks. And then we introduce, this is what I'm letting you guys know right now, second quarter, you are going to see a big run from Kendre Miller. He was silent last week, even though he was activated. They know damn well whether they run the ball a lot or not a lot, they're going to have to involve Kendre Miller somehow. You can't send Alvin Kamara up the gut. They're going to be ready for that. That Denver Broncos is going to eat Kamara alive up the middle. Let me see Kendre Miller, the Kendre Miller that popped out last year against the Atlanta Falcons in that final go-home game. Let me see that Kendre Miller. If Kendre Miller's been nursing this injury, then maybe he's got fresh legs, he's healthy, he's ready to unleash. Let me see that. Let me see the Instagram story, right, what he said. Proving all the doubters wrong. Let me see that, Kendre Miller. If you're watching this right now, my guy, look, you have an opportunity. Every carry, I don't care if you get 4 or 5 carries, baby, you make every single opportunity you touch the ball count on prime time, because I said it many times. I say it again. There has never been a clearer path to be a franchise piece for this New Orleans Saints franchise. And let's flip it back over to the Broncos offense. This Saints defense cannot take Bo Nix lightly and his ability to make yards and moves on his and plays on his legs in his own right. They've struggled against that in the past. We saw what Baker Mayfield did on that 3rd and long, and he was able to stretch out, and I think he got the first. I don't remember if he got the first or not. I think he did. That's when he got injured. They punted the ball away. Regardless, there's been a lot of 3rd down conversions, missed tackles, and if Bo Nix can get to the outside a few times on 3rd down, that's going to be trouble for the Saints. It's going to keep that Saints defense out there even longer, and it's going to put even more pressure on your young quarterback. So, if the Saints can contain Bo Nix from escaping to the outside when trying to escape the pocket and control them on 3rd down, this is a Broncos offense that's currently ranked in the league, I think, 31st in 3rd down conversions. They suck on 3rd down. If the Saints can just defensively contain Bo Nix, stop them on 3rd down, especially 3rd and long, I'm not worried about this receiving core in Denver. I'm not worried about Javonte Williams to make a play. I trust this defense to be play for play, buck for buck, better than this Denver Broncos offense. They just have to play like it. There was no kidding about like 20 missed tackles last week against the Bucs. On one play, we know which one I'm talking about. It was like 6 on the same play. It was insanity. It was one of the most poor displays of tackling I've seen in my 28 years of life. And they can't do that again. They got to be angry and not like I'm so sad angry. They got to be pissed off. And on prime time, with the world watching, they got to make these tackles because they are better than this Denver Broncos offense. A question does become, though, on that Saints defense is Adebo going to be at that CB2 spot still? Because I don't know if I trust him. Or is it Alante? I don't know. Wherever they have Adebo at, I feel like they got to not have him there anymore. Well, I think you got to put Kool-Aid in his spot. And let me know in the comments. That'll be the question of the video. So let me know in the comments. I know you made it this far. What do you think about this Adebo situation? You could just comment Kool-Aid or Adebo so you let me know who's better. But I think you put Kool-Aid in that spot. I'm a little bit worried. I think Payton knows Adebo. He might be a bit of a liability, especially on the deep ball, especially with Troy Franklin. He had like 7 grabs last week. I don't know if he'll be going up against Lattimore or what, but regardless, especially if they try to come out in some zone bullshit they did last week, they could get cooked, and it could be on Adebo. So I'm all about Adebo guarding the red zone. We saw the interception against Baker Mayfield. And, man, I'm drawing a blank on who he reminds me of, another DB that played for the Saints, and he was great. Was it Ken Crawley? Maybe it's Kim Crawley who I'm thinking about. Was really good about guarding the end zone, not so much about the long field. Kind of got burnt up a lot. So I think that's where Adebo could be a specialist, is, protecting the red zone. You got to give Kool-Aid, I think, more starter reps, because I don't think Kool-Aid, he's more of a coverage DB versus Adebo is kind of boom or bust. He's going to make the aggressive gamble. And if he does that, he's going to get beat over the top. Kind of reminds me of Trayvon Diggs sometimes. And the way Trayvon Diggs is playing this year, that I would probably consider them 1-1, almost the same guy. And I know there's going to be Adebo defenders in my comment section, and I agree. I think he could be a great corner. And he's, 3rd interception, 2nd in passes deflected. But he's also getting up a lot of yards. And penalties. It was like a 46-yard PI call, and then the week before that, I don't know if he had one against the Chiefs. I know he had one against Mooney against the Falcons. He had a couple. So, for every play he makes, and I know he has 30-plus tackles. He gets his tackles too. But for every play he makes, I just feel like he gets kind of burned over the top. And this could be a bit of a hot take, but I think go ahead and give Kool-Aid the opportunity this week on prime time. Why not? Adebo's probably beat up anyway. Let Kool-Aid get out there. And we know Vance Joseph's going to be very, like we talked about, aggressive, blitz heavy on defense. But what is the target? Where do we think the focus is going to be on offense for Sean Payton? I think he knows that secondary is lacking depth. I think he knows they're exhausted. I think Sean Payton knows they're gassed. And I think he knows the pressure that's on them. He knows exactly the pressure that's on him to win on Thursday night. And not on Denver. I mean, Sean Payton knows the pressure that's on the Saints, despite the injuries, to show out on Thursday night. So I think, coming into it, Sean Payton, he's going to keep it short. I think he will keep it short. I don't think the Denver Broncos are known for these big, explosive, long plays. But I do think you're going to see a lot of hurry-up offense. You're going to see Bo Nix run the ball a lot. You're going to see short screens. You're going to see guys we probably never heard of get involved. And it's like, oh, wow, I didn't know Denver had these guys. Sean's going to try to show off. He's going to go quick. He's going to be fast. If this secondary can't get spooked, they got to, keep their ground, not get blown over the top, you know what I mean, for sure. But also not get shook. It'll probably be a lot of play action. They might try to take a couple shots or send a couple decoy routes to pretend they're going to take a couple shots. But the majority of these plays are going to be quick, fast, in a hurry, and in front of them. They're going to have to step up to the plate, and they got to stop giving up these passing plays over the middle. It hasn't even really been over the top. I'll talk about Odebo. A lot of it lately has been the tight end game, and it's been things over the middle. That's been missing with Pete Warner being out. He's always been a sure thing with the tackling game. But Demario Davis and company, they got to step up big time. Safeties, I know Tyrann Mathieu got banged up. Safeties got to step up big time in the middle of the field. And I think the Saints defensive problem is going to be pretty easy to fix. And it just goes back to what I just said, keeping the play in front of you. I mean, this is the Saints defense that I thought going into it was going to be top 5. And then after the first 2 weeks, I was like, oh, top 3. But then even after a couple weeks after that, I was like, all right, top 15, top 10. We can pay our bills still with our defense, as defensive-minded head coach. And then last week happened. And then now we are like 29th in pass, and we're giving up 400 yards a game. And we let Sean Tucker drop like 130 on us. So the Saints defense isn't looking pretty good. But I'm going to be honest with you guys. I think I know the problem. It's just tackling. I don't know if they're tired. I don't know if it really is the coaching. At this point, I would blame the coaching. At this point, it's a discipline issue. At this point, you're having penalties, you're having a lot of boneheaded plays, and now you're just seeing just nonstop missed tackles. And if we see the type of missed tackles on Thursday night, there's no chance the Saints even keep up, let alone have a shot at winning this football game. The offense is going to have to take care of the football, and like I said, start aggressive early. But defensively, they just got to make a damn tackle. They have the playmakers to make the plays, to make the interceptions, to do the exciting stuff. They got to make a tackle. They can't, give up a 4-yard pass that turns into a gain of 20 or 30 or more because they can't wrap them up. And a lot of that stands to a morale point. I think you get to a point in the season, especially whenever you're riddled with injuries and you didn't have a lot of expectations coming in, and then everybody was like, oh, you're 2-0, but it's not real. And then you had injuries, and then you slowly start to fall apart. I can see how that can mentally really eat at you. And if this was, I don't know, if this was like Browns week, and Cleveland was marching in, I'd be like, all right, well, just don't mess it up. It'd be just a different conversation. But the conversation would mainly be around, is this Saints team fired up? If this is the Browns marching in, I'd almost be more worried than the current situation with Sean Payton. I'd be more negative because I'm just using them as an example, right? Because they're at home game later on, right? And so if they were to come to town on Thursday night, that would have been – because there's no fire right now. It's hard to – I think even Spencer Rattler touched on it that there was like a bad vibe, right? Like after the loss, it's just you got to get right. You got to shake it off. There's no 24-hour rule. That's what Cam Jordan said. He's like, no 24-hour rule this time. We got to get right. That's true. After the last week, that was historically bad. That was a historically bad display of defense last week. Overall, but especially defensively. This is supposed to be a defensive team. So they got to find a fire. But you know what that fire has to be? It's Sean Payton coming into town. Drew Brees. So that's why I think, you got injuries on both sides of the ball. I understand. Sean Payton's got injuries, but you know what else is injuring, handicapping Sean Payton is that ego of his. So let him walk in with his friends in town, everybody watching him under the lights. Let his ego get the best of him, and let Dennis Allen out-coach Sean Payton. And I'm not saying he's a better coach, but I think he can pick apart the weaknesses, man. I am telling you guys, any other team marching in here, I might legitimately say, you know what, my pick is the other team. The Saints are going to take this one and hope to shake it off at the end of the season and make a push. But I am picking the Saints to win this one. And I think it could come down to a defensive ball game, and it's the battle of the field goal kickers, and you got Blake Grupe. He's been great except for PATs. Leave my man Grupe alone. I don't think he's missed a single field goal this year. He's missed 2 PATs. He's still elite, still a top kicker against Will Lutz. I think he's like 13 for 14 this year, so he's missed a field goal. I don't know about his PATs. But Will Lutz is coming home, and he's pissed, man. I mean, that's a revenge game for Will Lutz. It comes down to a game winner for Will Lutz. That's going to be that's going to be the whole dome is going to be puckering at the same time, Probably all of Denver, too. Probably Will Lutz. But I definitely think it could be a defensive ball game. It's a battle of kickers. But I think more likely, it's going to be a Thursday night shootout. I think the current point total is like 37.5. That's low, man, even with the injuries. Like I said, the Saints know they have to start out aggressive. They know that Spencer Rattler has to get comfortable and confident early, and then they can introduce the run game. And Kendre Miller with fresh legs and guys it's a guy that hadn't really seen except for the, no tape on him really except for Falcons last year. So I think this could be either a low-scoring battle of the kickers or what I will think it'll be a very, very high-scoring affair. Give me the Saints winning this one. 35-23. That's my score prediction. And I think the Saints take it home, and they make a statement against Sean Payton in his homecoming. But I appreciate you guys. Let me know in the comments, too, what your score prediction is, man. Let's blow this up. Let's keep it engaging. Hit the sub if you hadn't already. Hit the like if you are enjoying the content. We're on the road to 1K, man. We're making moves. I appreciate you guys. Don't forget, I am going to be on the Saints Legends fan cruise in April. I got the link in the bio, in the description of this video. Use the code GRUNT200 to book your cruise today. You'll get $200 off booking and $50 on board credit. You don't want to miss out. I appreciate you guys. Stay safe. Be kind to one another as always. Who dat? We dat. Sean Payton, they be coming home, but we going to show out for Drew Brees. That's why you got depth, baby. Somebody's going to step up and rise from the depth chart that's been hidden away, and they're going to make a play. Believe that. Let's go, man. Appreciate y'all.